People are saying that the Republican Party has officially lost the white college educated vote. That they're saying they are gone completely. Now, what am I talking about the white college educated vote? And how do we know they swung against Trump this time? Well, the white college educated vote is the traditional Republican base. You know, the establishment types. They're whites with college degrees. And where would you usually find them? Well, the best example is go down to Texas. Alright, and you notice, hey, there's a few blue dots here and there. You look at the shift 2016. Nutshell, these big pockets of swings towards the Democrats up in Dallas and near the San Antonio/Austin area. These are heavy college educated areas, especially with white voters. You notice how they swung heavily against Trump. There's just this big line that swung heavy against Trump. But then you go down south and you see an area that's not that educated and with a higher Latino, Hispanic, etc. population swung heavily for Trump. So you notice that Trump made big improvements with with people without college degrees versus those that are white with college degrees. And you could go down to Florida, like the Jacksonville area. This is the establishment hub of the Republican Party. And it really didn't swing that much Democrat. Even though this was a group that Trump was supposed to lose nationwide by 10, according to the media. But really, he lost only by 3. Alright? And even then, that number may be misleading. And here's why. So, you check the exit polls. Again, they're not perfect, but they give a decent indicator. So, you notice how, no filter on, right? This is basically the entire populace. 17% said coronavirus was their biggest issue. Well, when you go to white college graduates, that goes up to 23%. And take a guess who they broke for. Biden. They broke heavy for Biden. And really, what this is signaling is if coronavirus didn't happen, alright, this 23% of voters that voted basically on coronavirus and white college graduates would have most likely went to the economy and healthcare and policies, your second biggest issue. In that scenario, Trump would have probably clobbered Biden, right? And this is important because what this is signaling is Trump realistically only did worse with white college graduates because of coronavirus. That's what it's looking like. Not, Orange Man bad, but really because of coronavirus. You take coronavirus out of the entire equation and you add 10% to the economy and probably 13% to healthcare. That alone, Trump would have swung white college graduates heavily his direction. That's huge. He would have won white college graduates in that scenario by 2 to 3. When he only won them by 1 last time. And where would this be significantly seen in? The Jacksonville area, the Orlando area more. It swung the Orange County and Osceola County, which are white college educated hubs. They're more Democrat. Swung for Trump. But you would have seen it mostly in the Jacksonville area, and a lesser extent the Atlanta area. But again, we don't trust those results whatsoever. And this is important. If coronavirus never happened, Trump would have combined his white working class base, Latino/Hispanics, and white college graduates in the same coalition. Folks, that is massive. And if you can get a candidate that can appeal to the establishment Republicans that are mostly white college graduates, and someone that can appeal to those final 2 groups, Latinos and white working class voters, Republicans could be unstoppable. That could buck old trends in Georgia, in Texas, alright? But even then, Texas may have just bucked old trends with Trump's massive gains in the western part of the state. Arizona could buck the trends, etc. This is important to the Republican Party. And they really got to do something about this. They need a candidate after Donald Trump that can appeal to all these groups. Because they already got the white working class unless they pick Nikki Haley. If they could pick a DeSantis type, that would be huge. You get the Latinos, the college graduates, and the working class in the same coalition. That is massive. And again, right? The only reason it seemingly looks like that Trump lost white college graduates was because of coronavirus. That is important. That is a big thing you have to understand. Because remember, coronavirus was the first issue for 23%. Second issue probably would have been split between the economy and healthcare. So that alone, Trump would have won white college graduates by 2 to 3. Better than 1 than he did in 2018. This is important. The Republicans have a gold mine of voters if they can get the right candidate. Now, there's one thing Republicans do need to absolutely get if they want to win over a lot of these voters. A real healthcare plan. They can't keep going around with, we can keep using the status quo. We can just make Obamacare light. What's the worst that can happen? What Republicans need to do is to adopt a plan like Rand Paul. If you don't know his plan, I'll link in the description down below. Go read it. It's a phenomenal healthcare plan. But what it does is it puts a libertarian spin on healthcare. Well, Rand Paul libertarianism, not libertarianism, whatever you want to call it. But in a nutshell, it's a real healthcare plan that could legitimately work for the Republican Party. Because again, it may only seem like, that may be only 20% of the white college graduates. If you can get that number of voters that vote based on healthcare up to just 20%, Republicans would basically be unstoppable to beat. So it's going to come down to healthcare. They need a real healthcare plan. So again, I recommend you go look up Rand Paul's healthcare plan. That may be the best solution for Republicans. But if that doesn't work, they should push for something like a public option. They have to push for a Medicaid expansion program that actually works. But not Obamacare light. That's not going to work whatsoever. So yes, it's important Republicans get a real healthcare plan. Because again, 20% of the white college graduates are going to vote by that, based on these exit polls. And you really got already 48, 49% of that locked up, right? For the Republicans, they're usually going to get around 48, 49% of white college graduates. Especially after Trump, they're probably going to always get 50%, because Trump just has this cancerous appeal to white college graduates for some odd reason. He just does not have an appeal to them whatsoever. But if it was someone like Josh Hawley, Ron DeSantis, somebody, that could swing all these trends. And Republicans would be basically unstoppable. They would do significantly worse in places like Northern Virginia, well, more like DC, but they would save a state like Georgia, Texas, Arizona, a lesser extent Texas, because you looked at the swings and pretty much is counteracting each other. But you get the point. Republicans need a real healthcare plan and someone that isn't so cancerous to the white college graduate vote. But at the same time, can keep Trump's gains with Latinos, which should be fairly easy to do, because Latinos are starting to trend heavily Republican. And if Republicans can get someone that can appeal to the white working class base in the Rust Belt, that alone would buck old trends. And yes, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, hit the link down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, and yes, thank you to Seahawks, Brendan Nelson, Joshua Perez, and Spiffy Diameter for joining the channel. You guys should do the same. Click that join button down below. It helps the channel. And yes, we'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.